Good afternoon, everyone. This is Gavaskar Reid from the New York City Department of Education, and you are now a part of our first Engineering and Architecture Commission gathering for this 2022 to 2023 school year. This is the best place for you to be if you are a career and technical education educator from one of our New York City high schools and you are teaching anything within design, architecture, mechanical drafting, robotics, pre-engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, and anything in between. We have these meetings throughout the school year because we like to build and cultivate and solidify the partnerships that we have with the private sector, with the public sector, with our post-secondary partners. We want to be able to share best practices with each other as well. We have two chairs of this commission. Dr. Michael Horeniciano, he's the professor and chair of the Institute of Construction Innovations from the Civil and Urban Engineering Department within the New York University Tangent School of Engineering, which we are all familiar with. And we also have, of course, Mindy No, the principal from Perkins Eastman. These two individuals have been a very they've been great additions to our commissions over the past few years, and they've helped our schools in a number of different ways, from keeping us abreast with industry trends to providing partners for various types of work-based learning activities, and reviewing and endorsing and evaluating many of the curricula that our schools use, and many more things as well. So thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mindy. Of course, you all know Jessica Kemper. She is the Director of Industry Engagement from my team. And of course, I get phone calls and texts in the middle of my meeting as usual when I sent out 500 reminders about this is the time where don't try to contact me. But I really appreciate you all being here today. And this is the most enjoyable part of my work. And I'm not just saying that. You can ask my boss, Jessica. You can ask my colleague, Laura Bucko, as well. This is what I live for. No matter what other projects I'm working on, no matter how stressed I am, no matter how tired I am, you guys give me life and energy. So thank you all, because there's no other greater bunch of people than you all. So thank you all. There's nothing possible that we can do here in the education system without your involvement. So thank you very much. As always, you can access our resources, our materials, our slides, our recordings, our notes at any time from our public folder, which is found on our Google Drive. And the shortcut is bit.ly/industry engagement folder. This is accessible to everybody in this meeting. And if you ever need to log out, if you've ever missed a meeting in the past, if you need any documentations for program approval or program reapproval purposes, or if you saw a bunch of slides or materials that you missed in the meeting, this is where we store everything. A lot of times I send out surveys to people and I get comments and suggestions from folks that, Gab, there's so much content and I couldn't keep up. You don't have to keep up. That's why the folder is there. So next time you fill out the survey, please don't put any suggestion like that you got lost because of so many links and materials being shared. Everything is right there. You guys know that I'm a neat freak. I'm very organized, just like Jessica is. So we try to put everything in a nice little box with a ribbon on top just for you all. All right, so to just give you a quick overview of what you are walking into today, as some more folks are joining the Teams meeting for some reason. If you have any colleagues from your school or your company that are clicking on the Teams link, let them know that this is a Zoom meeting, okay? All right, so our agenda for today, we're gonna hear our chairperson remarks from Dr. H and Mindy. We're also gonna hear from Engineering Tomorrow. This is one of our partners that has done a wonderful job in providing free pre-engineering resources for our schools. So whether you're a CTE teacher or an academic teacher, these are some resources you can tap into. We're also gonna hear from Alvin Townley from Skills Point Foundation as well. They've done a lot of work in providing tailor-made scholarships for your young people who may not necessarily be going straight to traditional college. This has come up in many discussions over the years. Where are the awards and grants and scholarships for our young people that are looking to go into a trade school? They're looking to go into some sort of alternative trade, which is separate from the traditional liberal arts pathways. Well, these are scholarship opportunities that you can have your graduating seniors and your alumni to apply for. We're also going to hear from Tim Hayduck from the Center for Architecture. You should have gotten some emails from me throughout the past few weeks as well. There's a college fair coming up, and there are also scholarship opportunities if you have any architecture students who are looking to pursue a degree from a accredited architecture bachelor's program. And after Tim, we're going to hear from Matthew Pierce from NASA. He always has a bunch of fellowship opportunities for our STEM teachers. And if you are a teacher and you couldn't get into the STEM fellowship program, there are other opportunities available that he can talk about. And of course, there are internships for your kids as well that he's going to touch on. And we are going to also hear from Kendall Samlal, my colleague from the program approval and quality team. He's going to do a little bit of a Q&A concerning the 3-part technical assessment. We've had some questions come up regarding this assessment, and for our industry folks in the room, you may not know what this is. We're going to go over that as the meeting progresses. And as always, I try to leave some time for others in the room who may have any sort of questions or comments that was not addressed in the agenda. I'm going to ask that you please raise your hand if you have any questions or comments, and don't try to blurt out anything. Keep yourself on mute. Click on the raise hand button if you have any sort of input that you want to make throughout the meeting. And as a reminder to New York City Department of Education staff, if you have a professional license, you are able to acquire CTLE hours because of we are approved providers for CTLE. So if you have a professional teacher license, you can accumulate some hours from attending these meetings. If you have a transitional license or an initial license or a permanent license, you don't need CTLE. But for everybody else who has the professional teacher license, you can just fill out the attendance form before you log out and let me and the team know that you are looking for CTLE hours. As a reminder, everything that our commissions do and all the programs that we oversee, all the initiatives that we help to coordinate, it is a part of Chancellor Banks' North Star vision. And if you ever hear about the North Star, this means that each and every one of our students graduates with a plan and a pathway to a rewarding career, long-term economic security, and equipped to be a positive force for change in our communities and our city. I have these slides here that talk about the 5 elements that ensure students will leave high school with real skills. You can look at that in your own time. I'm going to have that up on the public Google Drive, excuse me. And just 3 things I wanted to highlight before we get into the agenda. There are several student pathway initiatives that you should be mindful of. Many of you have heard about Future Ready NYC. This is a career pathway pilot for business and finance, education, healthcare, and tech careers. For any Department of Ed staff that has questions about that, feel free to reach out to my colleague, Allison Burke. And we have the Career Readiness and Modern Youth Apprenticeship pathway pilot. My boss, Jessica Kemper, would be the point person to discuss that. And many of you were in our meeting yesterday where we talked about the CTE modernization and upgrades grants, where you are able to get a one-time $50,000 grant to supplement and help improve your program. You can reach out to Chrisanne Luchetto if you have any questions about that. And I also included a slide here if you just wanted a quick rundown of the differences between these various initiatives. You can take a look at that in your free time. And of course, we have the deadline for the modernization or upgrades grant. Make sure you apply by the 26th. My 6 got cut off. That should say October 26th. I was editing this slide before I uploaded it. So October 26th, not October 2, is the deadline for that. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And enough of me talking. I'm going to turn it over to none other than the Romanian sensation himself, Dr. Michael Horodnicianu, our chairperson. Go for it, Mike.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. And I'm really pleased to see that there are over 50 people that have joined our meeting. That's actually something to be said, not about myself or Mindy, but Gav, you have done a spectacular job in actually getting everyone together. Hello? Did I lose you guys?
No, you're here. We hear you loud and clear.
I don't know. I don't see anyone anymore, so I don't know what happened.
We see
I'm
you.
I'm spotlighting you for everybody, so you're appearing on our screen.
Okay, okay, so I don't see anything, so it's okay. One of the things I would like to share with you, I actually had a meeting last Thursday at the White House regarding infrastructure investments. And one of the things that I can tell you is that we're looking at an incredible amount of work that is coming our way. $1.2 trillion that will be invested in infrastructure. So I would say that there's a world of possibilities for people that are going to be engaged in engineering and architecture going forward. So it is important that we are going to engage students, many students, to do that. And for the students themselves, it's a great opportunity to improve lives in general. And engineers and architects provide meaningful solutions to a variety of problems. And this is not something new. This is basically, we have done that over the centuries. So the variety of problems that I talk about is the climate change, to clean water, to health, technology, to transportation. And always there are opportunities to innovate and protect the public. So I'm actually very much encouraged by what I see in terms of the future for the young people coming into our profession. And really, I think that there are opportunities that are basically, in this particular time, once in a generation, such opportunities that are happening. So with that, I would like to encourage you guys to get as many kids involved in this particular endeavors. It's really a great thing for the economy. And this is really the type of employment that is constantly evolving. The people that are in this profession have the freedom of personal expression. And to a certain degree, I would say that we need to try to energize and educate young children to experiment and see what is the positive impact that they can bring to all of us going forward. So with that, I do not want to keep you much longer. I'm actually very happy to be doing this and hope to do more as time goes forward. So Mindy, I think it's your turn to cover more of the architectural part. And, please go for it.
Thank you, Mike. So I'm so excited to see everyone here and the diversity of people attending the interests, as well as checking out, I think, what we could discuss as, I think for the most part, we're still continuing to experience some workplace and education challenges, whether it's back to work or back to school. And, how can we better connect with the industry and the latest trends and current practices? So communication, again, I think has always been a critical skill set, and collaboration skills, and they're still very important today. And as we strengthen the connections between schools and industry partners, I think that, even though we do see some market fluctuations starting the next first quarter, that I think that, the demand for skilled staff is pretty high. And I'm hopeful in the coming year that we look forward to opportunities to continue to connect with each other and to encourage teamwork and problem solving. And it's really critical in the success to the students, to the educators and administrators alike. So thank you, everyone, and looking forward to hopefully meeting you in person shortly.
Thank you, Mindy. All right, so as we move on with the agenda, I wanted to feature today Constance Chiplock from Engineering Tomorrow. I just want to thank again, I don't know if Lauren or anyone from ACE Mentor is here, but I got this connection through the ACE Mentor team, and Engineering Tomorrow has just been fabulous. They've done PDs for us. They've donated tons and tons of free kits to our school citywide. And if you are not already a school that's tapped into this company, please take advantage of them. Constance, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Gav. And Gav, I just have to say, right, I'm sure everyone here feels this way. Gav has been instrumental in connecting us, your schools, and so many teachers to what is needed on those paths of career readiness and the pathways in architecture and engineering. I also have my teammate with us today, Jillian Williams, and we are thrilled to bring her on board to NYCDOE, right? All of it. So I'm gonna, if I can share my screen, will that work, Gav?
Yes, go ahead.
So I see some nice teacher partners here today, right? See Rohan and Robert, and it's nice to have our ET partners here today. For those of you who are new to ET, we have two delivery methods. So this really started in New York City. Our founder, Bill Woodburn, who is the co-founder of Global Infrastructure Partners, he started Engineering Tomorrow so he could increase the pipeline of engineers in our country. He said, you know, he looked at Germany, China, and India, and they graduated 800,000 engineers. And he said, why is the United States graduating 80,000? So our goal is to really create a pathway of access to students to increase diversity in the engineering pipeline, as well as to increase girls in the fields of math and science. So Engineering Tomorrow has two delivery methods. Everything is delivered virtually. Our first method that really came about last year, we celebrated World Engineering Day. And at the time, I want to say we had 20 states and 4,000 students in one Zoom link, all working together. It was really beautiful. And so this year we've added about one a month. That is an all-in-one day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it's a little bit where a school would take a virtual field trip for those experiences, and the sort of extra gold bar and gold nugget that you get on those days, you get a headline speaker. So, you know, last month we had 4,000 students for our Bridges Day. And these students work together. Avery Bang, I'm sure many of you have seen that movie and shared with your students, Dream Big. She sort of catapulted to fame in that movie. And pretty much right after that, she did a TED Talk speaking for the United Nations. And she is CEO of a group called Bridges to Prosperity, where they go into countries where rural communities don't have access to water or sanitation and build bridges of access. You can see here we have our founder this month for phototherapy. We have in the spring, Telva Magruder, one of the top engineers at General Motors. So on these days where it's sort of all in one, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., you get a headline speaker providing a keynote address, which is great access to students to be able to ask questions and connect with these professionals. Our second delivery method is our traditional method, where we customize to your class schedule. We bring in professional engineers to your classroom, to your class time, and provide an introduction to the following 19 topics that you see. So you can see where it's very cross-curricular. Whether you teach architecture, whether you teach engineering, math, science, you know, the calculus in space, or when you're looking at the chemistry of, oh, there's another teacher part right there, Michael, the chemistry and the drug delivery of the distribution within your body. The wonderful thing about this curriculum and the brilliance of our engineers at Engineering Tomorrow is it is capable as a piece of curriculum of being communicated to and delivered to the top schools. We have Thomas Jefferson School for Science and Technology in Virginia, #1 in the country, Brooklyn Tech, Staten Island Tech, like top schools, as well as very beginning schools that are really just building access to this. And the curriculum really is differentiated to both. We actually have NASA engineers that deliver this curriculum to your classroom. We have university engineering students coming in on our second touch point for a Q&A. And the high school students love this, right? They can connect with a college student at MIT or NYU, the University of Florida, University of Southern California, all across the country. They come in and share their career pathways and why they made the choices for the universities and colleges which they have. So as you can see on these screens, like it just gets better. So all of this is free. We also, our engineers coming in free, you get free kits for your students. If you help us recruit as part of our recruitment push, each teacher that you give us that we schedule, we send you $100 Amazon cash. You can use that personally. Some schools put that money together and buy additional equipment for their classrooms. So this is a really fast snapshot. Jillian, did you want to like hop in here and add just anything of just what a fabulous experience this is?
Absolutely, and you covered it amazingly, but I just seeing these students, again, the excitement when they walk into a classroom and these kits are there for them, the teachers' amazement that it is all free to them, and being able to host these labs and see them really interact and ask these college students questions, and they have amazing feedback for them and guidance for them. The excitement when the students share the outcome at the wrap-up session where they're actually testing out these bridges in front of, you know, a NASA engineer or testing their catapults, and they get that feedback. They really appreciate it. And so it's an amazing experience. I just dropped the link in the chat for a lab request. Please, we would love to have you in our program.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions that we can answer about our program? Or do any of our teacher partners want to hop in there and share the experience that they have had, that they've enjoyed? And I know many of you also, I want you to know, we still, for those of you who had shared Monica San Martin and myself as your school partner, can I just give Doric Lee a shout out? Thank you for coming on video. Last year when we were at New York Harbor, so we had the electric vehicle cars, right? Of course, New York Harbor School like took them and made them water vehicles. Oh. But we're in there with our engineers and our NASA engineer, and Doric said, Constance, do you guys mind? I'm going to take you outside. Can you share like how amazing that testing experience was, Doric?
Yeah, no, so it was at the end of the year, and as I'm sure many of you felt, it was really difficult to wind things down last year. So we had a great time building the solar vehicles, and then as vehicles to like move like with fans across the surface. But then we then modified them to make them into little boats, and put them in a tank and had them test them out outside. And I have to say, like, the hands-on experience was great, but also just having those engineers speak to the students was like really powerful. You know, I don't get at least last year I didn't really have the opportunity to do that a lot, and I really thank you for that. It's great. Thank
you so much, Doric, for sharing. And Gav, thank you for this fabulous opportunity to connect with your schools. I have to say, I follow you on social media and LinkedIn, and what you put out there and what you do for these schools in New York City. is impressive and we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Constance. And
Actually, I had a
yes,
question.
yes, Danny. Yes, Danny, go ahead.
I wanted to know, like, what would the startup time be like? Would it be recruitment phase, and then you meet the students, or would it be a little bit more prep involved to begin working with your organization?
So what we do, as soon as you fill out that registration that Jillian popped into chat, either myself or Jillian will scoop you up as fast as possible, right? And you will tell us, hey, this is my curriculum, this is my schedule, I have regents here or reporting here. And we navigate what happens very quickly in about 20 minutes and lay you out a schedule. And then we hand you off to our mates, Monica San Martin and Jen Scott, who are fantastic school contacts and meet every need you can imagine. And usually within a week or two, you're on the schedule and engineers are in your classroom virtually.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
And can you remind us, Constance, how much are you charging each school to tap into these opportunities you're offering?
Gav, I love that question, right? Because it's free. It's great. I have to say, I'm a former high school teacher. And I know there were times that my students would have benefited enormously from having professionals, that can really touch on those career pathways, and that you really have like this sort of smorgasbord of these brilliant people. I can remember I started working at Engineering Tomorrow, and engineer after engineer, I was like, oh, I didn't realize these people all had like 20 patents in their back pocket. Like, it's nuts, right? They're brilliant. So I hope you access this. If you fill this out today, Jillian and I will reach out to you in an email or call or text and see how fast we can get these resources, these free kits, and our engineers to you. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Constance. Any other questions or comments for the Engineering Tomorrow team? All right, so whether you need pre-engineering kits or you're trying to connect your students to college students or industry professionals, you're trying to get them industry exposure, please reach out to me or Constance or Jillian, and we'll get that happening for you. All right, for those of you asking about the, yes.
I'm sorry, one of the comments that I would like to make is that in today's classes, I see at the undergraduate level about 40% to 50% of the students are females. So that's an incredible change from what it used to be. And I think it's very important to encourage that in the high schools. So that's one of the things that it's kind of very interesting to see. And particularly one of the things that I would say is that young women are now in position of leadership. And it will be very important to, in effect, bring this type of students to meet with the high school students to kind of share with them some of their experiences as to how things are moving forward. And by the way, because I think there was someone said something about the fact that there are so many more students in India. I have to tell you, we are actually training a lot of them because they do come to the United States, and they're not all staying. Some do, but in general, this is we are contributing in many ways to training engineers throughout the world. So it behooves us to actually do maybe a better job or improve our performance with the local students and bringing them into the profession, both architecture and engineering.
I was going to echo that we've been seeing actually a lot more women, but the question is, how do we keep them in the field? So there's some follow-up about in the professional world and partnerships with AIA and other institutions where you focus on female leaders and female accomplishments and their path to their journey, because each journey is different. that I feel that as part of this vehicle with CTE, that we could reestablish some of the bonds that we have with the professional institutions and societies.
Great, thank you all. And if we have no other questions or comments, we're going to move on. I got a few messages in the chat box about why is the lighting in my office like this. It's because we believe in energy efficiency and working in a low level lighting. All right, next up, Alvin Townley. I'm glad you joined us. Can you unmute Alvin? So Alvin, I'm so glad I got to connect with Alvin and his team, because a lot of CTE educators over the years have been asking about where are some of the scholarship opportunities for our young people that may want to go into trade school. They want to pursue a skilled trades, and Alvin has been very, very instrumental in providing that information to us. And I've been badgering many of you to get your young people to sign up for these scholarships, and hopefully you have been doing so. So Alvin, tell us about you and your organization and what you have to offer our young people.
Hey, thank you, Gavin. Thank you for sharing our message. And kind of like, you know, Constance has a free offering there, and ours is sort of free. It's actually just giving away money, and it's a lot of fun, except it's stressful for me, you know, every time we do an award, because we get so many great applicants. And to date, our little foundation started about 20 months ago now, and we've raised over $1 million for skilled trades education. And we partner with the Home Depot and with Schneider Electric and NetJets and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And Gav has been a real fan of ours and a cheerleader for us. And I have started to see more applications coming from New York City schools in that area. So that's been terrific to see. And we were founded because our team realized that a lot of people didn't want to go to college. It didn't make sense for them to spend what you have to do, spend for a four-year degree, and that they were really interested in pursuing other pathways, skilled pathways regarding the trades and those types of careers. And we wanted to celebrate that, you know, and I always give my wife a hard time because she went to Auburn University in Alabama and got a nice expensive four-year degree, came out, was making about $30,000 a year. And I realized later that if she'd gone and gotten her degree for aviation maintenance, for example, she would have been making six figures, you know, 5 years out of high school. So there's a lot of opportunity in this area. And in particular for New York City, we have a brand new scholarship that we just closed the first round. Like I said, I think we have several applicants from your schools. It's a Schneider Electric partnership. And Schneider Electric is a $34 billion company that I'd never heard of until they called us. They're a huge company. They build and enable digital buildings. And they wanted to start a scholarship program focused on New York City, particularly, and also the surrounding area in New Jersey. And they view this as a pilot for something they want to expand over time if it's successful. So we're going to make it successful for them. But they're looking for people that have an interesting skill set, really a skill set that is all about building maintenance and development. So it could be HVAC, it could be IT, it could be security, it can be you know, plumbing sometimes. So it's I'll give you our web address in a minute, but there's a little more detail there about the scholarship. But it's, you know, no one really goes to school to be some you know, a digital building enabler or a building technician. So they're looking for people that might have that interest and skill set. And the scholarship is $2,500. And we're going to award that, like our first awards in November, and then we'll announce a second round then. I'm not sure when they want to do it, but ideally, you know, we would have you know, 2 rounds a year. And Gav is going to be helpful in kind of helping me understand the best times to have those deadlines so that, you know, your students can get the scholarship money in enough time to plan for their next steps in education. And Schneider's really interesting because not only do they want to give scholarships, they really want to develop relationships with the individuals who receive the scholarships and maybe even the people that apply or the sources of applicants. They want people to know who they are, and they really want to develop a great talent pipeline for themselves, but also certainly from a philanthropic standpoint, they want to develop talent pipelines for this whole trades and skilled pathways area. So they're a great partner. And our other partner that's particularly relevant for New York City is the Home Depot. And they're our hometown handy store here in Atlanta, Georgia, where we're based. And they have a $2,000 scholarship for the construction trades. And they award that every quarter. And it covers construction management and carpentry and plumbing and HVAC and electrical. So it's you know, a simple, real simple application, as is a Schneider Electric application. And you know, I'm always happy to you know, give a little love to students I know that are coming. You know, if anybody wants to let me know, whether it's the student or a teacher or someone else. I mean, that can make a big difference if I just know it's coming, if I know who it is. And certainly with the kindness that Gav has showed me, we're going to be looking out for folks from your area. And so our website is www.skillpointfoundation.org, and that's SKILLPOINTE, foundation.org. And you can see some great testimonials we've had up there already. We have some great video capability that lets people give some testimonials. So we're always sharing those. And I've just hired a wonderful person to manage our social media. So if you want to follow Skill Point Foundation on Instagram and Twitter, I think that's where we're most active. And you can follow along about what we're doing and the scholar features we have. So that's a lot, but we're really excited. You know, like I said, we're young. We're about 20 months old, but you know, we're hoping to grow and, you know, find more partners and people that are interested in partnering with us to develop the scholarships. And we really manage the scholarships. So for, you know, Home Depot, as big as they are, they didn't want to create their own scholarship program. So they've partnered with us, and we actually administer and run the scholarship program and help them find applicants and make sure that the money ends up in the right place, and track the applicants, or rather the recipients, over time, so we can know what kind of impact we're really making. So that was a lot. Anybody have any questions, or can I share anything else that'd be helpful?
All right,
right.
so no questions. Alvin,
I
did
should
you?
mention also the Home
Yes.
Depot grant is $2,000. It's $2,000 for the Home Depot and $2,500 for Schneider Electric. And the Home Depot is quarterly, and we're going to talk to Schneider Electric tomorrow and try and work on the cadence for what their scholarship is going to be here for the coming year.
Yeah, so to our Department of Ed staff, some of our young people may go on to Co-op Tech, which is free after they finish 12th grade. This would be the perfect scholarship for them, because they can apply for this and it can help them out in buying whatever tools or equipment they need. So some of you have young people that are going to trade schools where they're not paying anything. This could be a good scholarship to help them out in order to get them the supplies and equipment they need for their classes. All right.
The one trick there is we have to write our checks to the school, the training institution. So as long as they can purchase what they need through the school,
right.
We're here to make it easy for the students. So if it's tuition, that's great. If they can buy tools to the school, anything else they can use via the school, we're happy to support, because, you know, we want them to go and excel.
Yep, great. Thanks, Alvin. So again, the website is right there in the chat box, skillpointfoundation.org, and be on the lookout for some more emails from me when the next scholarship opportunity opens up. Thank you again, Alvin.
Hey, thanks everybody.
All right, next up, we are going to turn it over to Tim Hayduck from Center for Architecture. I love getting his emails. I love being able to know about the college fairs and the scholarships and all the different career exploratory activities. I think that, Tim, I hope that all of our architecture programs are already working with your organization, because I mean, there's no excuse not to, you know. So I love the communications that we get from you, and I felt it necessary that we had to put you on the agenda today, because you guys have some great things coming up. So please feel free to share with us.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you, Gav, and everybody. It's certainly great to be here. Just ran from a residency on the Upper West Side, so not quite out of breath, but again, I'm just sort of dropping in here. And it sounds like some of the programs that I just got the tail end of sound really, really wonderful. I'm going to circle back and do a little bit of research. But let me just share my screen. I have a few things that are coming up that I think would be wonderful to share. Let's see, just want to make sure I don't lose you all. So I wanted to begin with, I guess we can, actually, let me start with the Architecture and Design College Fair. I'm going to include links to all of the things that I'm mentioning, but this is just around the corner on October 29th. So this is a program that we've run for, I think, gosh, I can't remember how many years it's been now, but this is a free program. We really love to have students register so that we can, send them more opportunities, different, activities and events that are coming up. And we have, I think, over 30 colleges coming. And it's a great opportunity for students to talk one-on-one with, the representatives from the different schools. Parents are also invited. I think it's really great for parents to have the conversations and ask the questions that often the students may not, ask, whether it's, how much it costs or things like that. But, doing it, across the table, having a conversation is really a great thing. I had an experience, it was over 30 years ago, but there were college fairs in Boston and New York. And the one in New York was held at the High School of Art and Design many years ago. And, I had great conversations, and I had a school contact me after meeting with them saying, hey, we want you to come. It's kind of a nice opportunity to have that sort of conversation. So again, please feel free to, share this with your students. We really, love to see people come in and take part in this. And let's see. Sorry, it's funny how Zoom, it kind of puts the bar right over where I want to be clicking on things. How do I do that? Let's see. Oh gosh, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. Let me see if I can get this open a little bit bigger. Anybody have?
You just muted yourself, Tim.
Sorry, I just want to move this bar to the side if I can.
Yeah, you can just click and drag it out the way.
Okay. Oh gosh, that's makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Okay, another event that's coming up November 19th is Girls Build. So this is a really nice opportunity for young women who are interested in architecture. They want to sort of feel out whether this might be a direction that they're going in. So this is a really wonderful program that we do. There's, again, I'll have information about linking to this and how you would register to attend. We also have another program called Design Discovery. This program is a series of Saturdays where we introduce students to some basic ideas. We're doing drafting and architectural drawing, learning about the language of architecture. We're also doing one on basic model making. So, it's sort of maybe supplementing programs that students are already taking, or again, it might be sort of an introduction to architecture, kind of feeling out whether or not this is something that you like. We really talk a lot about the rigor of architecture and, kind of take them through some of the paces, but, in a way that's, we also want students to really enjoy the process of architecture and to try to understand that either the education or the career opens up a lot of opportunities. This is something, the Walter Hunt Scholarship is something we really would love to have the audience here share with your students. This is a really incredible opportunity for students to win to apply for, it's $10,000 for the first year and then the subsequent year, so a total of $20,000 scholarship for students who are in public school in New York City and apply for architecture school. We've had kind of a low response, and perhaps that might have to do with COVID, but there's a nice chunk of money that is available, and sometimes we've been able to give it to two people. It can be divided up, but it's really a nice opportunity. Walter Hunt passed away a few years ago. He was very involved with starting the Center for Architecture and also involved with the education programs. He worked for Gensler. His wife Judy is heavily involved. The students will meet her. She's so warm and wonderful. It's a really nice process, even if students don't win, but certainly it's a really great opportunity as well. And the very last thing I just want to share, we have a really nice list of opportunities, some of which I've already mentioned, summer programs, college and career resources, internships, and this is a sort of a live PDF. So all of these are links that students or you all are welcome to check out. If by chance there's anything that's missing here, please let me know. I am going to include my email at the end as well. I'm going to put all that information into the chat. So thank you very much. If anybody has any questions, definitely let me know.
Any questions for Tim? Oh, Tim, in the chat box, someone says one of our interns won that award and it was life-changing for him.
Awesome. That's so great to hear. Yeah, that's really great to hear.
And if you notice, the website that Tim just shared, the deadline is, I believe, what is it, June 2023, Tim?
I think so,
right?
yes.
Yeah, see, some of the schools were thinking that the deadline was already passed because it said 2022 from the previous deadline. All right, so for all of our educators, this scholarship application is open. Your kids have until the end of the school year to apply. All right, somebody's asking, how do you get to that information from the links from Tim? All right, so Stephanie, Tim is gonna provide the links, all right? And when I send out the meeting notes for everybody, you will have all the information that he spoke of.
Yeah, I just put it into the chat.
Mm-hmm. Another teacher is asking Tim, is there a fee for the Girls Build event?
That is a good question. I think there is an admission. Yeah, it's $20. I just wanted to see if there's any. Yeah, often we have scholarships for programs, but I don't believe we have it for that particular one. But yeah, it's $20. Okay.
All right, Tim. So some of our teachers want to know if it could be waived for Title I schools, but we can discuss that offline after the meeting. All right.
Absolutely. That sounds great. I'll look into that.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much, Tim. All right. Next up, any questions, comments before we move on? Let me know. All right. Do we have Matthew Pierce? All right. So next up, I'm going to turn it over to Matthew Pierce, our longtime commission member and colleague from NASA. And Matt, before I turn it over to you, I just want to brag to the people in the room since I got to go to Houston the other day. Let me just share my screen real quick. How do I show this thing? So I've been able to, hold on, where's my, hold on 1 second, Matt. Let me just share this real quick. If you guys can see the screen right there, I was able to go to the NASA Space Center in Houston. So I got to say in real life, Houston, we got a problem. I was able to do that over there. So Matthew is well connected. He has NASA folks all over the country. And Matt, I just want to thank you so much, man. You've been giving our school so many opportunities with the internships, with the fellowships and all of that. So definitely wanted to put you on the agenda as well so that you can share some info with our schools and partners in attendance. Go for it, Matt.
Awesome. Thank you, Gavin. Thanks for the invitation to join this group. And it's a real honor to be here. I actually look forward to these meetings. They're some of the best meetings I get to connect with, because all of you are doing the same work I kind of do, and that's trying to connect students and communities with their futures and supporting kids in STEM. I'm an old teacher, I know some of you have had transitions out of the classroom. I was in the classroom for over 20 years and opening new and innovative schools and programs, and eventually got recruited to NASA to lead many of their education efforts. So in that, I'd like to share some quick highlights. I could talk all day about all the offerings we have, but I want you to think about me as your friend and ally and colleague to try to do what we can with NASA to support your students and programs and their futures as we go forward. So I'm going to try to share a couple of slides, and then I'm going to try to get you into some links and tell you a little bit about some other opportunities we have. Can you see my screen?
No, you're not sharing it yet. Try it again.
NASA does not play well with Zoom, I've noticed. It is not letting me share. All right, so we're gonna punt. Sorry for the technical issues. So one of my offices is up at 112th and Broadway, right above Tom's Oyster or Tom's Restaurant, at that Seinfeld diner, and that is called the Goddard Institute for Space Studies. And a lot of folks don't know we're there. We've been there since the early 60s, and it's a theoretical division of NASA and Goddard Space Flight Center that is predominantly focused on climate change, climate modeling, but is an extension of Goddard Space Flight Center out of Greenbelt, Maryland. And I wanted to share some brief opportunities that your students may be interested in. NASA has a very robust internship program. Every year we take on about 3,000 interns. It varies from term to term, and we've been successful at transitioning our internship program to a virtual internship program during COVID, and we're also functioning in a hybrid space and on center. So high school students age 16 or over that are US citizens and a 3.0 can apply to a NASA internship through this portal that I put on there, and their application will stay in the system ongoing, and they can apply to as many projects as they want. It used to be they all had to be within a certain mile radius of centers, and now with the virtual world, we can connect in other ways. So it's been pretty neat to build teams. Obviously, I think lots of folks are getting Zoom fatigue, so we have to find a balance between in-person and on-site and hybrid work. But they're really neat opportunities, and they exist across all disciplines. It doesn't have to be engineering. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be an astronaut to come to NASA. We have every discipline. We have social media internships. We have history internships. We have legal internships. In my case, I run a whole lot of focus in and around relevancy to climate change, climate modeling, and remote sensing because of the center I'm in. And some of you may have seen, and thank you, Gav, for sharing the Climate Change Research Initiative program with your community. It really helped us get the word out, and we were able to bring in some teachers from the New York City Department of Ed that are going to work with and lead research teams at GIS over the next year. And so we provide a stipend, and we ultimately try to build in. We call the program CCRI. Everything at NASA is an acronym. And we try to build a near-peer vertical team mentoring model where we take a NASA scientist, a teacher, a grad student, an undergrad, and a high school student, and they form a team that works together over the course of a year. And in there, from a teacher perspective, we get them to lead that team and do that research, but at the same time, we work with them to create integrated unit plans that they're putting directly in the classroom so that the science that's happening at the forefront of NASA today is also hitting the classrooms at the same time. But it's an awesome professional development experience for teachers. I think it really strengthens their STEM identity. And then we also look for opportunities to work ongoing with that teacher and that school to cultivate stronger pipelines, but also STEM ecosystems. Our goal is to really inspire your communities to really get excited about STEM, to really get excited about the future, to come and join NASA. Over 50% of our workforce is retiring right now. And I don't know if you've heard about Artemis, but we've got a new rocket on the pad and a new launch vehicle that's supposed to launch on November 14th. And we are beginning the first series of launches to go back and build a base on the moon with our international partners and stay there sustainably as we begin our journey to Mars. So there's going to be a lot of, there is now, even more so than just a few years ago, a lot of opportunities for students, teachers, community members in the new space economy. I also wanted to share a quick opportunity for your teachers or anybody that does education. I built, well, when I say I, it wasn't me, it was me and our team, but I led the development with a great team of a platform called NASA Connects. And one of the, being a former teacher on the outside of NASA, trying to, connect in with NASA was always somewhat of a challenge. And so at the heart of everything I do, I probably, like this term says, try to connect and bring teachers to be part of the NASA community and the NASA mission. So this is a system that was designed to be a professional learning community for educators who work and meet with other educators and NASA SMEs or subject matter experts, and get ongoing mission updates and content and resources and all the latest and greatest of stuff we put out. It's all free. And there's no cost to it. There's no wild plugins. You just got to go there, register. Your teachers, educators, assistants, administrators are welcome to join, and anyone that has a relevant interest. I wouldn't encourage students to sign up for that. It's not built for them. But through that platform, your educators will get an infinite number of student tools. I did see from Reid that yes, we do have internships in the New York City office. I wish I could have shown you this slide, but I'll try to describe it. The last year, we had over
Matt,
90 interns.
Matt, do you want to email me the slides real quick? Because I can move on in the agenda to someone else, and then as I get the slides, I can probably pull them up.
Yeah, I will actually. It's too big. It's a massive. It's
okay.
It's too big to get through the bucket. But okay. Yeah, I know we got to close out and get to the next agenda. I'm going to drop my email in the chat, and I would encourage all of you to whatever capacity to connect with me. I also work at headquarters on a lot of national initiatives, but in and all around, supporting STEM and climate change education. So please feel free to reach out anytime. Thanks again, Gav, for the chance to connect.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Any questions, comments for Matt before we move on? Are you guys having a rough week? I've never seen you all so quiet before in this meeting.
Yes, please, I have a question. This is
yes. Yes, Noel.
Yeah, please, this question is for Mr. Matt Pierce. The question is that I applied for the internship program for schools, and I think he responded to my email. I'm sorry for the noise background because my students that are practicing robotics, they are behind the, so sorry that it's a little bit noisy over here, but I didn't get a full response back to know the situation of my email and my application.
I know, thanks for applying and thanks for the question. There is an email forthcoming. You are a highly qualified candidate for the program.
Thank you.
In the end, I don't make the final selections. The mentors do. So I go out and work with the community, and the mentors go through the interviews and pick what's the who they can select. I will tell you, you were a priority finalist candidate in all projects. So you're really top tier candidate.
Thank you very much.
And so what's coming, and I won't talk too much about this because I know we need to move on, because you're so awesome and have such a passion for education and so talented and interested in this kind of work. I'm sending you an invite to join what's called the CCRI Educator Ambassadors Group. And in effect, I'm forming a cohort of teachers that want to do this, to come along, join a community with me. We meet monthly to share and do some resource provisioning, but also listen to what your needs and try to build new programs out of that. So that's forthcoming. I am a bit behind on my email chains. But thank you again for applying, and I will certainly encourage you to apply again for future years. And I hope you'll join our educator ambassador community.
Right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. And I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Mara Rivera. It's good to see you again, Mara. It's been a while since I last saw you. And good to see you also, Robert Brown, Daniel Degby, and the rest of the black screens that I'm looking at were just fonts. All right. Last but not least, my main man, my brother, Kendall Samlal, I asked him to join our meeting because, as you know, a lot of the things, oh, good to see you, Dr. Blake, as well. It's been some time. Welcome, Dr. Blake, to our meeting. All right, so I've asked my colleague Kendall to join our meeting today, and this is especially relevant for our school staff because as you may know, or as you should know, hopefully this is no surprise to you, your CTE kids have to do a 3-part technical assessment before they graduate. And throughout the year, we get all sorts of questions about this. So we just want to make sure that we're on the same page with this. And to our partners in the room, our students who are enrolled in our CTE programs, what's a little bit different about them compared to the regular academic high schools out there is that our kids, they have to do a technical assessment in their senior year, and there's 3 parts to it. There may be opportunities for you to get involved in this depending on the specific assessment that the school is using. From time to time, I do get asked from our educators, do we have any folks from industry or any folks from the college who can help proctor these exams, or who can comment on these assessments if we are using the most appropriate ones for our program. So if you hear anything about technical assessment, hopefully this is not us speaking a foreign language to you. All right, so Kendall Samlal, he's from the Program Approval and Quality team, which is one of our sister teams here in Central Office. And I'm going to turn it over to him so that he can give us an overview of how the technical assessments work. Go for it, Kendall.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Gav, for allowing me to speak into this space. And again, welcome everyone. So the technical assessment, as Gav referenced, is one of the required components for a program, especially when they're going to get NYCED CT approval. As we have a lot of the different pathways being developed right now throughout New York City, and these initiatives which are taking place right now, there's going to be a lot of programs which will have CTE courses within them. But those who have actually went through the process of becoming NYCED state approved CTE programs, this technical assessment piece is very important to them. The technical assessment is composed of 3 parts. It's a written, a performance part, which are provided by vendors. It has to be a vendor who has gone through the process of making it psychometrically approved. And they basically identify how it's going to be assessed. Some assessments require someone from industry to proctor and grade the exam, and then some do allow teachers to do it. So it all depends on the vendor of choice. The third part of the technical assessment is school-based and school-created, and that can either be a student project or a student portfolio. Now, all 3 components are designed to be comprehensive of what the course of the sequence of study is. So in the past, there used to be a list, and depending on the career area, you have a list of exams that would have normally been vetted, used, and was in practice. However, what has now happened is that the state officials and associates at the state says that everything is pretty much conditional, because you may have an assessment that's chosen, but it only assesses 25% of the program. So the rules are that depending on the sequence, the technical assessment must be comprehensive and cover all the standards, the technical standards being taught, whether it's a 2-year program, a 3-year program, or a 4-year program. So that is what determines which technical assessment is what's going to be appropriate. Now, you could switch up vendors. So in other words, if your program calls for let's say as an example, you need to have like the written part of it covered by NYCDOE. And then the performance part, let's say that the NYCDOE's performance part wasn't as comprehensive or doesn't really cover as much. Then you can actually pick a performance part from another vendor if it happens to match up. So they have that's a new thing in the last 2 years that they have allowed. So you can actually have different component parts picked from different vendors. And yeah, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just put into the chat real quickly the website, the link or that the state has in regards to technical assessments. If folks want to go in there and read the actual verbatim, the instructions that came from the Board of Regents, as well as the information that's provided by the associates to kind of bring it down to more of a level from the state. So yeah, and also too, if for some reason there's a sequence in which that there is no technical assessment available that's already been out there by a vendor, a school could actually create one through what we call the consortium approach. And with that, they would need to have 2 or more programs participating together in this venture, as well as a college to help create that exam. It goes through 1 year of a pilot. And then once everything is all the kinks and everything proves to be correct, then the second year it will then be able to be presented. All right, so that was it in a nutshell. If I pause here for any questions anyone may have.
Any teachers, APs, principals, coordinators have any questions about the technical assessment?
Hi, Kendall. This is Mara from Manhattan Bridges. So
Hi.
I'll be listening to you more and more, but in terms of the technical assessment, I have been very confused because we might be approved this year or next year. I'm not sure. That's one of the questions that I'll follow up with you in a separate email. But we were approved to use NYCDOE for engineering, and we were supplementing with Inventor 3D modeling like that. And then the other component was our student portfolio presentation of the performing portion of NYCDOE. And that was approved way back when we got state certified. It seems that might not be sufficient now with the revision.
It actually it could. So you guys are up for reapproval this year, right, for the engineering program?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so I would say that since I'm also having dual roles or three roles now until we hire new staff.
Or 4 or 5.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be the person coaching you guys through the process from beginning to end. So the sooner that you and I will be able to schedule a meeting, I can then have you get started on the self-study process, which would then lead into the external review, and we will see how best we can see if that lines up.
I love that. Yes. I'll be reaching out to you tomorrow so we can start scheduling because I'm freaking out a little bit. And just like you, I am the only AP. We don't have another AP, so I'm covering vacancies all over the place. So I get you. You're doing superhuman work. I feel you. But yeah, all the support we can get, that will be amazing because we don't want to lose this. We're the only bilingual program that is CPE certified for pre-engineering. So we really want to keep this going.
Yeah, definitely. We want to be able to keep that. And something that was just posted into the chat, which I would definitely want to be able to bring up, is that one of the things that you want to also look like at programs is that if something offers an industry certification, it's always great to have that also be doubled up as your technical assessment. You know, so in areas in which that would work. But again, it all has to speak to the area of study and how it works within your sequence. There are just some programs which are just so rich. Like in one program, CAD can be a technical assessment. But then in another program, because the program is so rich, CAD is just the foundation. So then it now is not a technical assessment because it happens so early in the sequence, so that it's not really comprehensive because there's so much more that's being taught that now builds off of it. So Revit may now be the technical assessment instead of CAD. So this is where it all really depends on your sequence in terms of what you're teaching that determines what is the appropriate technical assessment. You're welcome.
Mara, one of our partners is interested in providing you a Spanish language engineering curriculum. Is it possible for you to drop your email address into the chat box?
So, so related to what I just mentioned in regards to assessments, Jared Jacks, one of our schools in Staten Island Tech, asked the question, and this is more posed to the industry partners from their perspective, what assessments are in the highest demand?
Mindy No, Mike Corniciano, Tim Haydock, anyone from the industry or post-secondary, if you guys can just weigh in, because some of our schools want to know at this point, do you know which assessments are highest in demand, whether it's for architecture or for engineering? Which assessments do you think our high school should be giving to our kids?
Is it the industry certifications that are in tech, right? To get certified in, like CAD and the computer aided design.
So just for speaking on the architecture side, CAD, it was a baseline. Now we're seeing Revit as the standard of the software that we're using for documentation as well as visualization. Visualization has another series of software, whether it's Grasshopper or Inkscape, or there's other tools that we could use, but for documentation and production work, the standard has been Revit now. It's sort of moved on from there.
And do you all use Certiport?
We personally don't, but again, it could change from firm to firm, but for the most part, I think that across the board that we have been seeing more towards the three-dimensional 3D modeling rather than just a standard 2D representation. And we have to realize that there's more upfront labor and work that gets involved when you're designing initially. You have to think in 3D versus just a 2D line on a drawing. So that I think, whether you're a senior or junior, that's a different sort of mindset that we have to allow for more work up front rather than on the backside, on the back end.
One of the things that is important now, particularly in engineering, on larger project, is really virtual construction in order to avoid future delays, change orders, and so forth. And the more complex projects do require what we refer in the business as BIM, building information, that is very important in order for us to actually understand the various issues that will pop up during construction, that unless you address it, particularly in complex projects, so that would be an issue. So being familiar with that and familiarizing students with that the earlier stage is actually a good thing. It's going to be very helpful.
And team coordination and clash detection. So Revit is BIM. However, some of our engineering partners, they've been doing three-dimensional modeling ahead of the architects, and then having your team come together as a team and they merge the models together, whether it's in a virtual platform in the cloud or, it's very memory intensive. So to have the entire team on one platform really does help in coordination.
Thank you, Mindy and Mike. Are there any other industry professionals on the line would like to just share with our schools what you believe to be a very important certification or a very important assessment that our kids need to be pursuing? All right. All right, Kendall. Well, thank you so much for joining and for sharing your insight with us as always. And anybody has any further questions about the technical assessment, please feel free to reach out to Kendall. All right. If there are no other comments or questions about that matter, we're just going to wrap up our meeting. Are there any final announcements from teachers, administrators, any other partners, any guests? Anything you'd like to share before we close out?
Does anyone need us to send that form one more time for you guys to register, right? To give them one more plug out there. Thank you so much, Gav.
You got it.
Yes, and a big thank you to Gav, because I feel like he does the heavy lifting.
Yes.
And we really appreciate your time and your effort, and everyone here being able to participate. It's just fantastic to see everyone.
Great. All right. If anyone has any upcoming events, any news, any asks from our chairpersons, our partners, our schools, please let us know. Feel free to drop it in the chat box. Also, before you all log out, remember everything that I do deals with industry engagement. So if you have any guest speaker series coming up, or you're doing some sort of design competition, you're doing a project, you're looking for judges, you're looking for companies and organizations and colleges to represent themselves for your career days or your college days coming up. If you need those connections, please reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. All right. So we have a number of partners that are more than willing to volunteer their time so that they can talk to you and your young people about the industry. So please don't be shy, reach out. So on that note, on the behalf of the New York City Department of Education, thank you all for participating. Thank you for your attendance. And until we meet again next time, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, enjoy the rest of the week. And for those of you who are working within the construction trades, remember we have the Construction and Sustainability Commission coming up on the 27th. All notes, all recordings, all slides, all the links, they will be emailed to everybody in attendance. So look out for an email from me. I try to get these things out within 24 hours, sometimes within a couple of hours. So just look out for an email from me. Everything that we discuss, it'll be right there in your inbox. So as always, on behalf of DOE, thank you all for the work that you do. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gavin.